Yeah, yeah.
So, I'm Ezzy Talk Sport. It's an absolute pleasure to be joined by the one, the only, three belt champion, world champion, Natasha Jonas. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. You're right.
I'm good, thanks. So, I just wanted to start off by asking how you got into boxing.
Long story short, is that got injured playing football. I was decided to take up another sport, and I was bugged into it by my first ever coach. And that was 17 years ago now, and I never looked back since.
Yeah, and obviously, being a black woman, have you faced discrimination on the way on your boxing journey?
I just think being a woman, there's a lot of barriers. I think there's always barriers. Being from where you are, and I think in life there's just barriers to everything you want to do. Specifically black, maybe. I can't think of any. There's little slight micro aggression things when you go to different countries representing as an amateur, and things are said. But not that comes to the top of me. That's the first top of my head now.
Yeah, and you mentioned being a woman. There's barriers. How have they been easy to get over, and how have you dealt with it?
I think we're at a pivotal time for women in sport, especially this year. I think 2012 was a big thing for females in boxing, obviously competing in the amateurs, and for young girls to be able to see that boxing could get them there. So that was a big barrier broken down. I think the likes of myself, Taylor Serrano, Harper, Chantel Cameron, Claressa, Savannah, and all the big Claressa, Savannah, and there's been some big fights recently. Katie and Serrano and Sav and Claressa that have been big events this year, along with women, England women, the Euros. I think it's broken down a lot of things that were barriers that were put up in the sense of, does it sell? Is it popular? Is it entertaining? Can it pull the crowds in? And we proved all them things. I think more than 7 million people worldwide watched the Savannah fight. I think there was 1.2 or something on the night. I don't know how many it was for Taylor, but she sold out Madison Square Garden. Claressa Savannah sold out the O2. And now there's not a fight of the year category in boxing without a female fight that's present. So that just proves that it is entertaining. Fans like to watch it at its highest level. And like I say, it just breaks down all them barriers of, is it entertaining? Yeah, we've ticked that box. Can they sell? Yeah, we've ticked that box. Are they just as good as the men when at its highest level? Yeah, we've ticked that box. So there's lots of boxes that have been ticked this year, and you've just got to keep it going.
Yeah. And obviously, you grew up in Toxteth in Liverpool, and Liverpool is a town that's doing very well sportingly. You've got yourself, you've got your sister Nikita, Paddy Pimblett, Molly McCann, Darren Till. Do you think that growing up in Liverpool is something that has made you the person you are and spurred you on to do so well in boxing?
Yeah, I think so. I think for me, family is a big thing. We've come from a very sporting family, and you can't. There's a lot of greatness that you've got to contend with just to get yourself on the ladder in the Jonases. So, it's a excellence of standards kind of family, and I think Liverpool as a city, there's things that you go through there, and the way that the people are that, they want to see you succeed. They stick together, and it can be a tough way of life. So being tough is nothing new. And having to be tough is nothing new, and fighting against, just fighting in life is not something new for Scouse people. So
yeah. So you spoke a little bit before about how women's boxing is doing so well. You mentioned Savannah Marshall, Claressa Shields, but you've got loads. Amanda Serrano, Alicia Bumgardner. Is the magnitude that women's boxing is at now? Is it something that you would have seen, that you would have expected when you first started?
I think even in the amateurs, we always knew how good women's boxing was. We just needed the world to see it. We didn't have the platform. We didn't have the kind of support that we needed. financially and like, you know, present wise,
Yeah.
commercially either. But now you see, you know, we are supported by big promoters on big platforms, high up the cards, on TV. And that makes all the difference. And now you can be funded to just box. You know, the likes of Jane Couch and people that came before us. You know, it cost them to box, and normally 9 times out of 10, you know, it wasn't you was fighting for the love of it, and you wasn't really making any wages from it. But now, you know, you can be a full paid athlete, and that can be your job, and I think that makes all the difference. I think when we was going from, I keep going back to the amateurs, but when we was going from going through that GB setup for the first time for the 2012 Olympics, when we started, we England was definitely, or GB was the team that you probably, in the women's team anyway, that you definitely wanted to draw, because you know, it was only really Nicola Adams that was getting to any medal stages in the tournament. And by the time 2012 come, after, you know, 3 years of investment of, you know, top coaches and all the facilities that were available to us, to the EIS and through, you know, the funding for Sport England, when we didn't have to have a second job and we could just concentrate on training. By the time 2012 came round, we was the team that you definitely didn't want to draw.
Yeah.
And that proved it when it was only us and Russia that qualified all our athletes outright.
And obviously, women's boxing is not the only female sport that's doing so well. You know, Beth Mead won Sports Personality of the Year yesterday. You know, you've got Emma Raducanu making history, Simone Biles. You know, the list goes on. Is seeing other women be so successful in other sports, does that spur you on, even though you're not in the same sport?
I think one of the biggest, like, turning points for me was, it sounds stupid, but the Commonwealth Games in 2016, I think it was, or 2018 it might have been. And my dad was phoning me up saying, have you got the netball on? Have you got the netball on? And it was when England were playing Australia, I think it was, for the Commonwealth Games, and they won it. And like, my dad supported me in every sport that I've done, and that's netball included. And he's come to all my games and whatever. But, you know, you know, I get men week in, week out messaging me, when are you next out? You know, think you're a great fighter, and things like that. And that like goes to prove, like, you know, that's where we're at. It's like, you know, men are interested in female sports, and that's what that's what we've always wanted and needed. Because, you know, when it comes to the likes of football, rugby, boxing, cricket, they are male dominated sports, and as much as we need females to support us and we need female involvement, we also need the men to back us, because we're only a small minority of the sport, so it can't just be all a female movement. So it's important that, you know, men get behind what we're trying to do as well.
Yeah. And growing up, wanted to be a boxer or wanted to be a footballer, I know you got a scholarship in America. Did you have any inspirations when you were growing up?
I've always loved Tanya Gray Thompson. I actually met her last night at Spotty. I loved Marion Jones, who's since been disgraced, but I did love her because, you know, she went from being a really famous basketball player when I was living there to also competing on the track and being very successful on the track. Obviously, that's all sided now, but, you know, they was the women that I looked to. Tanya Gray Thompson was, not only was she amazing in her own field, but, you know, when she retired from her sport, she, you know, went on to become an MP and a member of Parliament, and, you know, she's trying to change lives for people who live like her, and I think that's really important.
And obviously, you're an inspiration to many. Do you understand that? Do you kind of see yourself as an inspiration to the younger girls who want to get into fighting, or do you think it's something that's going to settle in after you finish your career?
No, I don't think, as an athlete, you're always just focused on the results, and you never really think of the effect you have on people until somebody tells you. And it's only then, you know, when I go into schools, or I think I put up recently where a little kid stopped me in Sports Direct and was following me and my little girl around, and eventually did ask for a picture. The school tweeted it a couple of days later, and I said, I'll come in. And done a talk, and just to, you know, they'd done a whole Black History project on successful Black people from Liverpool, and I was one of the people that came up in that thing. So, you know, but when I done my talk for kids to come back and say, like, you know, you've inspired me there, miss, or, you know, you're my hero and things like that. That's very rewarding. I do try and get into as many primary schools as I can, and because I think it's important that you know, I'm only the same as them kids, and I think it's important that they see people, you know, from their place with their face that, you know, can be successful. And sometimes, you know, like you say, who was yours when you look back, you can probably name them all on one hand, because there just wasn't very many. So to be that person to someone is very important, and it stays with you for life. So
yeah. And obviously you've got a young daughter, and I saw you mention before that you'd probably rather her going into football, but if she really wanted to and came to you and said that she wanted to follow in your footsteps and be a boxer, would you let her?
yeah, I think with the, you know, with the opportunities that boxing's given to me and the life that it's given to me right now, I'd be stupid not to. You know, I didn't do great academically in school. I wasn't very successful in any other sport, so yeah, it'd be stupid for me to block that pathway for it. It's not. I think I might have been a bit tongue in cheek when I said I'd rather go into football, but you know, I just encourage her to be active like my parents did.
Yeah.
And what a sport I'll find there, like boxing found me.
Yeah.
I never planned to be a boxer. I never wanted to be a boxer, but it found me in the end, and that's where I've stuck. So, you know, if you open the opportunities, open the doors up, then they can go into whatever they want. It'll find them.
Yeah. Just a little bit on Nikita now. I was just wondering, what does it mean to see your sister doing so well?
Like, I think when you can control things, or you know it's on you, that it's you kind of got a peace and a calmness about yourself. But when it's somebody else,
yeah,
and you don't know what's going to happen, you can't control it, and it's out. It's sometimes harder, and the emotions are a bit everywhere. So when we was going to the Euros, it was tough, because, you know, sometimes she wouldn't get on the pitch, and, you know, the emotions of the game, and you want the team to win, and you want them to do well, and you're also, you know, you want your little sister's dreams to come true. So yeah, I'm very, very proud, and I made up that, you know, and I remember I'm 10 years older than Nikita, and I remember everyone saying, like, oh, your Nikita's like you, she plays footy and she does this and she does that, and it wasn't that kind of thing to do as a young girl, do you know what I mean? And she's stuck with it, she's worked hard, and she's got her rewards, and she's, you know, playing for England in some of the biggest tournaments possible, and being successful. So what more could you want from your little sister?
Yeah, exactly. And something else I was going to mention is that it's very rare for two people from the same family to make it to the elite level in a sport, and when they do it, it's usually from the same sport. You know, you've got the Williams sisters, but why do you think it is that you've both reached it to the pinnacle of your sports, and they were different sports? What do you think about it? Is it just family? Is it...
Definitely family plays a big part. I know her mum's very strict, and, you know, had a big impact on how she got into sport and why she strives to do better and be better. So I'm the same with mine. But also, you know, the grit and determination from herself and what she's seen, and the drive that she's got in herself to, you know, overcome things and be resilient, and keep, you know, when things haven't gone her way, to keep knuckling down, and she's got a vision and she keeps working towards it. And that's the same for myself. You know, you sometimes it's only you that can see it, but you have to keep working towards it, whether people believe it or not. And you've got to do what's best for you. And it's not always easy when, you know, your mates are going out and doing things, and you have to sacrifice that. Or big events. I missed my own cousin's wedding, which I was chief bridesmaid of. You know, to go and box and to train, and, you know, people don't see that side of what you give up, and obviously time with my little girl and stuff. But, you know, yeah, just them things. You work hard. You never give up. Believe in yourself, and you have the support system to help you be as successful as you can.
Yeah. So a bit about your career now. Obviously, you're the world champion right now. But if you look back on your career, what would you say is the pinnacle of your career? What was your favourite moment so far?
I think there's two. One being, you know, the qualifying and going to the Olympics, definitely. And two was the second one was winning against Namas. I just feel like everything that comes after that is now a bonus.
Yeah.
I always said I was, world level, and I always said I'd be a champion, and to actually go out and prove that, and prove some people right and some people wrong, was one of the best. And this year in general has probably been the best in my boxing career ever.
Yeah. So after you lost to Katie, you were 2 fights in a row without a win. 36-year-old. A lot of people may have thought to retire, but you moved up in weight and then won the world title. What made you kick on and decide, no, I'm not finished. I'm gonna reach the top?
Just that I hadn't achieved what I wanted, and yeah, just to prove myself right more than anything. I stopped trying to impress everybody else and prove myself right, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So just I had a goal. I hadn't reached it, and I wanted to. So that was basically it.
Yeah. And so you've got 2023 coming up. When this time next year, what do you want to look back in 2023 and have achieved?
Carried on winning, got more belts, maybe different weights, and just being successful and doing what I love. Now, like I said, after the Namas, everything's a bonus, and now I just go for the choices that are best for me. Not trying to prove anything to anyone. I'm more about just doing it for myself.
Yeah. Any fights in particular? Terry Harper rematch, Katie Taylor rematch.
I think the ones that appeal to me most is the Katie Taylor rematch and the Claressa fight. I think they're two arguably top pound for pound. Which way you want to put them is up to you. But to be able to say that I've been in and fought the best and arguably the best two people on the planet is a huge feat for myself. And to test myself, I want to test myself against the best. It's not about just the taking part. It's about being in the best fights possible.
Yeah, do you believe that if you a rematch with Katie or a fight with Claressa, do you believe that you win both those fights?
Yeah, I believe. It's just a different fight now.
Yeah. So, one last thing I was going to say I'm presuming there's going to be a lot of young people possibly following in the footsteps of you. What would your advice be to them people who want to be like you?
Don't be like me. Be better. Just believe in yourself, work hard, try your best, never give up, and anything's possible.
Yeah, thank you very much, Natasha, for joining me in this interview. It's been an absolute honour, and hopefully speak to you soon, and I wish you the best of luck for your future.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for being positive. I hope you have a good Christmas.
Thank you, you too.
And thank you.